Hello, welcome back to another video. This time we're going to be covering the immune system, its function, and the parts of it. The immune system functions to protect the host against illnesses. These illnesses are caused by pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, fungi, or parasites. There are two major divisions of the immune system. The first one is called your nonspecific or innate immune system, and this acts as a general defense against anything that isn't a part of the host. An important thing to know is that the nonspecific immune system doesn't have a memory. The second division is called acquired or specific. This division specifically targets the pathogen that's making the host ill, and importantly, it does have a memory. So now we're going to talk about the innate immune system. It's split up into two categories, our first line of defense and our second. The first line of defense is split into three types of defenses. So the first is our mechanical barriers. And this category includes your skin and mucous membranes, which try to keep the pathogen out before it even infects us. The second is our chemical barriers. This includes stomach acid, sweat, and mucus itself. Stomach acid kills the bacteria before it reaches our lower guts, and sweat and mucus washes it away. And then another category, lastly, is our reflexes. This is our emergency eject button, essentially, which includes coughing, sneezing, vomiting. It's essentially forcing the pathogen out. In our second line of defense, we have phagocytes. These are general white blood cells, which attack anything that is not the host. Remember, they don't have a memory. Next, we have fever and inflammation. And this is helpful for the body because the heat slows down the rate that a pathogen can multiply, and it increases the efficiency at which our white blood cells fight. If an illness bypasses the first and second lines of defense, then our specific immunity is called in for support. This system works essentially like a lock and key. So we have our red virus on the left, and then this green structure on the right is an antibody, which is produced by the immune system. It works by attaching onto a part of the pathogen. This is called an antigen. So the antibody, which are the good guys, attaches to an antigen, which is a part of the illness or the bad guys. So now we're going to talk about the parts of the specific immune system. And these are composed of cells called lymphocytes. Remember, there's a big difference between lymphocytes and phagocytes. Phagocytes are a part of the innate immune system and eat anything that isn't a part of the host, while lymphocytes are very targeted. They target the pathogen that made it past the first two defenses. We start on the left with our B cells. B cells are important because they make the antibodies, which we talked about in the previous animation. Cytotoxic T cells engulf viruses or pathogens. This is within the scope of healthcare aid. And then our final one is called helper T cells, and its role is to support other white blood cells to make them more efficient. See, the B cells are producing more antibodies. And when it supports a cytotoxic T cell, it becomes more efficient at engulfing pathogens. After an infection, the B cells and T cells become memory cells, which remember a specific pathogen and stop a second infection from occurring. So now we're going to talk about how people become immune to diseases. This is two categories: active immunity, which is where your body produces its own antibodies, and passive immunity, where you receive antibodies from other sources. This is divided again into two: natural and artificial. Natural sources or artificial sources. When we're discussing active natural immunity, we're talking about an illness infecting a person like usual. They produce their own antibodies, so they're immune to it a second time. When we're talking about artificial active immunity, we're talking about vaccinations, where a weakened form of the virus is injected into a person, their body builds antibodies, and they're immune to the real virus. When we're talking about natural passive immunity, this mostly refers to breast milk, where the mother's antibodies flow into the baby, and then the baby becomes immune to certain types of bacteria. Finally, we have artificial passive immunity, which is a direct antibody injection, and then they're immune to the virus or pathogen as well. These are the four types of ways people become immune to ailments. So thank you for watching my video. I will be covering diseases in the next video. It's important that you understand how the body systems work, but it's important to know the diseases as well. So thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.